All right, we got Anthony Ervin. Same plan as yesterday. You guys will ask him a question. Well, state your name, your outlet, ask the question. I will repeat it for him. He'll answer it, and then we'll go through there. We'll start off. I won't ask an opening statement or opening question, so feel free to raise your hand, and I'll call on you, and then we'll go from there. Go ahead in the back. Anthony's biggest factor to make his comeback.
The biggest factor to make my comeback. Well, I've repeatedly kind of said that I wasn't making a quote comeback, that my kind of returning to competitive swimming was kind of, it was a slow process. It wasn't like at the outset when I started swimming again, I wasn't like, I'm going to make the Olympic team again, or I'm going to try to make the Olympic team again. It wasn't like that at all. So the biggest factor in that, I think it was, I don't know, I think I was just ready. I think that the biggest factor was the time that I needed to kind of figure out my own life and what I was doing, and kind of just those formative years as a 20-year-old, just kind of on my own, doing my own thing, and unhindered, unfettered with the discipline of being a competitive professional swimmer.
Go ahead.
Ken.
I couldn't remember. Does Anthony have any regrets being away from the pool for so long?
That's a complicated question. You know, I can't, in all honesty, I mean, how do you move forward with one's life if you hold on to regret? You know, you just be turning around, you'd be like Lot's wife. You'd just be a pillar of salt. You wouldn't grow, you'd remain stagnant and crystalline. So in that sense, no regrets. I mean, what could have been? I don't know. All I know is what did happen, and I feel lucky and privileged and glad to be here right now.
That was a good answer. Go ahead, Amy. Popularity of swimming and how it's changed?
I wouldn't say it's changed so much as it's grown, and in a lot of ways I think that growth has paced itself with the growth of just media itself in this country and the world. I mean, it's great that swimming has lots of exposure, and I mean, like last night seeing Michael and Ryan racing that 4 a.m. like for that opening spots on the team, and then fire shooting out of the sides of the pool. I mean, it was nothing like that when I was swimming. There was no fire, there was no blowtorches, there was nothing like that. So that was definitely very, very cool. And the spectacle side of it, of making this a big event, I think it's amazing. And I mean, I think the sport deserves it. I think it's great. You know, for once every 4 years, certainly. It's the least it's due.
Go ahead, Gene.
Are you here for good, or are you just visiting? Maybe you'll go away again?
Is Anthony here for good?
In what sense?
Are you going to stay in swimming?
Stay in swimming? You know, I mean, I've been involved in swimming for the last, like 5 or 6 years, you know, but I was just, I was teaching kids to swim, and then I started coaching young peoples as well. And it wasn't just until this last, like, year and a half that I started competing again. So, you know, while I kind of like moved away from the sport for a while, you know, I dropped off as a competitor, but it only took a few years before I came back as an educator in the sport. To elaborate a little bit more on your question, I do plan on sticking around for a while longer. However things end up here at trials. I mean, 6 months ago, 7 months ago, I was not expecting to be in contention for a spot, like I kind of feel like I am now, and so it would be nice to just do some of the things I didn't take the opportunity for when I was younger. Like doing the World Cups. Just trying to participate and be active and an ambassador for elite swimming, both here and abroad, as well as there's tons of work to be done in educating people about water safety and just growing the population of swimmers that we have. So as a competitor, I'd like to see a couple more years out of me. Who knows? It's tough when you're an adult and you got to pay bills, and I'm still in the midst of graduate school, so I'd like to finish that at some point. And obviously competing full time would kind of impede that progress. But yeah, compete a couple more years. But as far as the sport of swimming, I think I'm going to be around for a while.
Go ahead, Scott. Anthony's motivation in auctioning off, selling his gold medal from 2000?
Again, that's complicated. A very definitive action on my part, with very broad and far-ranging consequences and thoughts for myself and those around me. I can certainly speak to, at the time, I obviously was having a lot of trouble with my position and what I was doing. There was a lot of unsettled feelings about the direction I was going with my life. And I remember being at home for that Christmas and just watching on the news just how many lives were lost. And I'd always kind of taken a lot of pride in my swimming abilities and accomplishments. But for whatever reason, just seeing those numbers and seeing the devastation and just hearing about it, this was like right after Christmas. It was a big family gathering, knowing that my family and even me, with all my vaunted talent, faced with that kind of a wall of water, I would have drowned and died and been destroyed as well. And at the time, I was definitely, I'd classify myself as somewhat of a mystic at the time. And in order to make, what's the word I want to use? Not amends, but in order to kind of like cleanse myself, I wanted to do something that I thought would help, to kind of give myself away in that, through the medal. Is that a satisfactory answer?
Did you have one, Angela?
Why did I pull the trigger? Why did I kill myself? Well, I had been dealing with burnout for a number of years, and there was always another reason to keep going. In high school, or even before high school, I struggled. I was told, I was like, just keep doing it, it'll get better in high school, and it got better in high school. And then as high school was coming to an end, I was like, all right, I'm ready to finally stop. Granted, I probably did not have the best work ethic or stability of mind to be a completely dedicated swimmer. And in high school, and again, it's like just keep doing it. You've got some ability. You can get a scholarship to college. So I got a scholarship to college, and I went to college, and I got immensely good in a very short amount of time. And despite wanting to really not having much motivation other than my love for my team and my teammates, I stuck it out those 4 years thinking that I really didn't have any other goals to accomplish, and it was time for me to kind of reclaim some of the things that I had sacrificed, some of my freedoms, some of my independence, some of my ability to go ahead and learn things that I had to give up. So I spent a few years doing that.
Let's go with Brent, and then Karen, you'll close it out. Three-part question. First one, regret. Does he have any regrets with the medal? Part number two, happiest moment during his career, and then third part is the unhappiest moment.
Do I regret anything? No. Kind of already answered that question. Unhappiest moment? I see the moment where I was the most surprised and kind of devastated was being handed our defeat in the 400 freestyle relay by the Australians in Sydney, because I really thought that was how I was going to win a gold medal. I didn't think I had it in me to beat Gary or Popov at the time. Happiest moments of my career? Winning the 100 freestyle at World Championships. It's like I went out super fast, died really, really bad. The touchpad didn't register, so everybody was confused. Then they changed it and said I won. So there was a huge roar. Felt good.
All right, Karen?
How will I define success here? Well, you guys are in a room listening to me, so I already think I'm somewhat successful. No, I mean, I didn't think I'd be here. As far back as 8 months ago, back to 2004. I wouldn't think I'd be in this position again. So in a lot of ways, I'm very much surprised. But the vicissitudes of life, like, I guess we're always thrown for a loop at some point or another. So I'm just gonna go with it. And I'm, success, failure, so far it's been really good. So failure would have to be something really awful happening. I don't even want to speculate on what that could be.
Thanks, Anthony.
Thank you.
You're gonna